What if sanctuary wasn't just a place, but a way of living? Welcome to the Sanctuary Network, your weekly home for conversations that awaken the heart, heal the body, and inspire the spirit. I'm your host, Mary Ellen Popyk, the creator of Spirit Fest and the Natural Wellness Expos. For 2 decades, I've been creating spaces, now creating a bold new broadcast for mind, body, and spirit, where seekers, healers, and teachers come together to share wisdom, laughter, and transformation. We've seen what happens when communities gather. People become enlivened. Now, through the Sanctuary Network, that same spirit is reaching you, wherever you are in the world. Each week, we'll sit down with thought leaders, authors, and everyday visionaries. We'll also shine a light on the grassroots voices of the sanctuary marketplace, the healers, vendors, and practitioners who make this movement thrive. This isn't just another show, it's your sanctuary, a space to pause, reflect, and reconnect with what matters most. So, take a deep breath, open your heart, and join me. Together, let's step into the sanctuary. Welcome, everyone, to the Sanctuary for Mind, Body, and Spirit. We are live tonight from steamy Florida. Both Lori and I. Welcome, Lori. Thank you so much for being here with us, you and Emma.
Thanks, Mary Ellen. I'm so happy to be with you.
She's such a sweetie. Yeah, it's definitely steamy here. But I wanted to, and I want to give you a proper introduction in a minute, but we've got so many great things, some topics to cover, but I'm interested in your feelings on some of the earth changes we're going through. You know, I know that this is cyclical, but, you know, I really kind of feel like that the earth is ascending with us. So for those of you who are not familiar with Lori, Lori Spagna is a best-selling author, a spiritual catalyst, an intuitive, a multi-dimensional channel. She's also an ascension guide, a mentor, an empath, an animal communicator, an energy healer, a starseed, a contactee, and a visionary. She channels the collective, a group of non-physical interdimensional beings who include a collective group of ascended masters, divine goddesses, angels, teachers, loved ones, the animal kingdom collective, star family races, interstellar beings, and others in the non-physical realm. So she is well connected. So again, thank you very much for being here. So do you have any feelings about, I know people are experiencing what I would call ascension symptoms, where we were talking about how sensitive it seems like that we are these days. And I don't think it's just the 3D world around us. I think as our bodies are ascending, that we are becoming more sensitive. Tell me what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, in communication with the earth, like recognizing earth as a sentient being, Gaia, even if that's too far out there for some people, we could start with there's consciousness in everything, everywhere. Everyone, there's consciousness. Consciousness is ultimately all there is. So really, Gaia, through channeling, have communicated with her. So my perspective is what I've been taught from her, and that is that she has made a free will choice to heal from all the destruction.
Mhm.
So the earth changes that we're experiencing show up in 2 ways. This is what I can offer to this conversation. One is Gaia making her movement to a new space in the galaxy,
Mhm.
where she's not in such a dense, heavy area that's based in so much separation, density, heaviness, where there is so much unconsciousness that we would cause harm to her, that we would treat her in such a way that she's not a conscious sentient being,
Right.
that we would perceive her to be separate from us.
Mhm.
So she, on her healing journey, is moving and inviting us to awaken with her to a lighter, more conscious way of interacting. And as she's moving through the galaxy, as we understand it, traversing, elevating in her consciousness, in lightness, and shedding her wounding aspects, we're perceiving that through earth as earth changes, but we're also elevating in consciousness with her. So she's not coming with us, we're coming with her, right?
Okay.
As
It
we
makes
make
sense.
that choice, right? And then conversely, or maybe not conversely, but the other aspect of it is that these earth changes are reflections of humanity purging our own density.
Right.
So, for example, when we see things like tornadoes, that is a cleanup. Tornadoes tend to happen in areas where there's a lot of pain and suffering to animals,
Mm-hmm.
or a lot of harm to the living beings in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
So the tornadoes will come in and wipe things out.
Mm-hmm.
Or hurricanes, for example, are another form of cleanup
Mm-hmm.
where we're living in density with respect to the land, the nature realm. So that's a kind of cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, fires can be a kind of wiping out of egoic
Mm-hmm.
structure
Mm-hmm.
or ways where we're living in disharmony. So, it's not making us wrong. It's a kind of healing process that's taking
Right.
place. That's the
Right.
way I see it. Extreme humidity can be perceived potentially as trapped emotions that have not been
Mm.
properly addressed.
Interesting.
Mm.
Very interesting. So, what does that
Yeah.
say about Florida?
There's a lot of grief here.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting point, a question to ask. I mean, you could be asking about the collective of the humans who live here.
Mm-hmm.
Are they properly, or are we, since you and I both live here, are we properly processing
Mm-hmm.
as a collective group of people who live in Florida? Are we properly processing and addressing the emotional body?
Mm-hmm.
The water is symbolic of emotions,
Right.
but trapped water, humidity,
Mm-hmm.
is like emotions that are not being properly addressed, or appropriately would be a better word to say. So does the collective of Florida, do they kind of, is there sometimes, and this is why, Spirit Fest is so important,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh,
Because
yes.
it's a place where people can come to learn how to appropriately address, like there's so many healers,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Help people to address these kinds of trapped emotions, or
Yes.
emotional entanglements, or emotions that we don't necessarily know how to process appropriately. And
Right.
unprocessed emotions do lead to physical
Yes.
dis-ease and
Yeah.
discord. They'll also lead to relationship upsets and turmoil,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Unprocessed emotions will lead to all kinds of disharmony in
Mm-hmm.
our world. So, I mean, you could say that, but right, if you look at areas that are more desert-like, for example, that could
Mm-hmm.
be almost a lack of certain emotions, or an imbalance with regard to emotions, or maybe too much overthinking or mentalizing potential,
Mm-hmm.
right? It just depends on how you interpret. This is
Mm-hmm.
just how it's been taught to me as a healer and someone who works with energy and the land and
Mm-hmm.
earth, and understanding how we're all connected. So I'm not trying to enforce what I've been taught, but that's how
Mm-hmm.
it's been taught to me through channeling the collective, speaking and connecting with the consciousness of Mother Earth, and with weather patterns. In fact, there have been times when hurricanes have passed through Florida, and there was just like really horrible hurricanes all around. And just through working with the consciousness of the hurricane,
Mm-hmm.
I was in understanding of like what it's here to do, how it's here to clean up. And then by becoming and working with that energy, we've been able, in my sacred visionary mentorship, in my membership groups, we've been able to neutralize and transmute some of the
Mm-hmm.
devastation.
Mm-hmm.
Because really it's quite possible to work with every form of consciousness, so that it can be just so much more harmonious for us when we understand that it's somehow here to serve us, to
Right.
help us heal and resolve our own issues.
So we help clear some of the dense energy from the past, even if it's not ours, maybe that took
Yeah.
place like on the land?
Oh, for sure.
Wow.
Well, the thing is just to understand is that when we think it's not ours, it's only because we're coming from a perspective of separation.
Hmm. Right.
Ultimately, right, whether you're spiritual or whether you're a mystic, whether you're just, universal intelligence, ultimately all theories or perspectives ultimately sort of agree on this, that we're all connected, right? Science
Hmm.
calls it the God particle.
Right.
Quantum physics recognizes it that way.
Hmm.
if you're a religious person, you might believe your God is the only God, but you understand there is a God,
Hmm.
right? So,
Hmm.
however you perceive it, there's just so many different ways to understand we are all connected. We're all part of one source. That
Right.
source is divine intelligence or infinite intelligence or, universal intelligence, quantum intelligence. It's consciousness,
Right. Right.
omnipresent consciousness, and that consciousness energetically vibrates to a frequency of love
Hmm.
that is
Mm.
beyond love. It is
Hmm.
so far beyond human love, human con. So when we say, is it possible for us to heal something that's not ours? Well, it's always possible for us to heal things, but when we perceive it to not be part of us,
Hmm.
we're still, in a sense, part of the problem because the recognition is on this from the space of oneness that we are all connected. We are all part of one source, and
Hmm.
that what happens over there is affecting us somehow, or if it's happening on some part of land, we are connected to it in some way, shape, or form. Then that healing that we can do can
Right.
be so much more powerful because we're recognizing it's part of us, it's within us as a whole,
Right.
right?
So it's not even just clearing out our what our past experiences and the trauma and things like that too.
But it is that too. Definitely is
Yeah.
that. I'm not
But it's
negating that at
ancestral
all.
lines and it's the
Yes.
location that we're in. There's really a lot of great work that we can do. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, and
Um,
it's the recognition like there's no accidents. There is no coincidence. There's a law, universal law of synchronicity.
hmm.
That is a law of the
Hmm.
universe. Quantum
Hmm.
physics recognizes it. God created, if you're willing to go there with me, God, source,
Hmm.
divine intelligence created these laws as guiding forces for us to understand how reality works. So the law of synchronicity, which is also connected to the law of correspondence, understands that everything is exactly in perfect order.
Hmm.
Law of
Yes.
divine order. You can state it in a lot of different ways. So
Hmm.
you're never in the wrong place. You're always in the right place. So if you're there,
Hmm.
you can do healing in that area.
Yeah.
When I do healing for Florida as a
Hmm.
location, I'm recognizing I'm part of this and at
Hmm.
one with it. Therefore, I have a contributing role.
Hmm.
There's no accidents, right? We're
Hmm.
here
Right.
on purpose, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, we chose where we are. And I believe we chose to be on Earth at this time too. I
Yes,
think
for
we
sure.
stood in line to be here. I think a lot of people
Yes,
wanted to say, I want to be part of it,
yes.
understanding as we're kind of branching off into different dimensions or densities, depending on where people are and with what the Earth's going through. And of course, open disclosure, I'm very ready for that too. So
Mm,
it's just an exciting time. And when we can look at it as less chaotic and more of an exciting time, it does help.
mhm.
Um, but there is a lot of rocking and rolling literally going on with the earth right now, with storms, but with earthquakes and stuff too. But same thing. I think it's just part of the process. The earth needs to release things just like you described.
Yeah.
Um, and that's
And
how we do it.
And also, I think it's just really, really important to understand the overarching like paradigms that are going on. There's basically our old paradigm, which we often refer to as 3D, but that's just languaging.
Right.
It's all of the systems and structures that we've been operating under. And all of those systems and structures, they are not sustainable.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
They're not in a state of coherence. So a lot of what we see in the external world is that that's collapsing.
Hmm.
And so that all of those systems and structures, if they were built on the energetic or the consciousness that was based in fear
Hmm.
or duality or separation, like that we're separate, or that they were built somehow in this overly masculinated patriarchy, like a hierarchical system that basically feeds on itself and causes harm to the many
Hmm. Hmm.
for the benefit of the few. That's what we're witnessing is collapsing. Yes,
Hmm.
on one level, we're seeing it in weather patterns, right? Because all the fear-based energy, like if you go back to what we were saying, tornadoes are cleanup, hurricanes
Hmm.
are cleanup,
Hmm.
fires are cleanup, right? They're forms of transformation.
Hmm.
All of those old systems and structures, even where that energy exists within us, that's based in fear, domination, um, benefit to or harm to any,
Hmm.
rather than for the good of all with harm to none. rather than that which is based in love, right? That's old paradigm stuff. It's collapsing.
Hmm.
And it's mostly what's based in fear, some form of fear, anxiety, grief, sorrow, like wrongness. Someone
Hmm.
is wrong. Someone out there is wrong or bad.
Right.
Like all that stuff, the
Hmm.
anxiety, the frustration, the lack, poverty,
Right.
those kinds of systems are collapsing because they're not sustainable. They're not built on for the good of all. They're not built on the overall energetic of love. They're
Hmm.
not built on what we're shifting into, this new
Hmm.
paradigm that is already here and available, where everyone gets to benefit, where
Hmm.
it's for the good of all with harm to none, where we start functioning. How can I be the energy of love or kindness, loving kindness or compassion or
Right.
understanding or forgiveness or whatever, and grace or whatever energy or flow, unity,
Hmm.
connection, oneness,
Hmm.
like those are the energies
Hmm.
that are sustainable. And how can I allow for the energies to flow and be in flow and union?
Right.
This shift requires a complete eradication of fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Much
that's what
easier said
people
than
are being
done.
challenged by.
Hmm.
That's what's challenging because it's like everything we've been, every part of us in
Hmm.
this old paradigm was somehow linked in. That's a term, an interesting terminology, but energetically siphoned or energetically plugged in is a better word to fear.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
we're having to recognize that is some form of fear that has dominated me. I'm no longer giving my consent to that.
Hmm.
I'm no longer allowing that. And the thing is it happens on the mental plane, the way we think and what we believe. It happens on the emotional plane, how we emote, how we feel. It
Hmm.
happens on the attitudinal plane, what our
Hmm.
attitudes and perspectives, it
Yeah.
happens on the physical plane, what we
Hmm.
listen, like everything, what we plug into,
Hmm.
what we eat, how we perceive even our food or
Hmm.
our water. And also, part of it is like the state of denial we've been. We like to go into, like a lot of us like to go into denial.
Yeah. Yeah. Have to
We want to
unlearn
pretend,
what we, hmm. Yeah.
right? We want
Hmm.
to pretend stuff isn't true. We don't want to know. That's why so many people don't want to know about a lot of this stuff that's being revealed, that's been able to be kept secret for so
Yeah.
long, that's
Yeah.
being exposed. So we have to transmute all of that personally and, on the
Yeah.
micro level, which
Hmm.
is our personal level, but also on the macro level. That's what you're talking about, Mary Ellen,
Yeah.
like healing for the land, healing for the earth, etc.
I'll use my mother as an example. She, God rest her soul, was very opinionated and she had a set of well, she considered right or wrong, and it was a very narrow focus. And so she was very judgmental. And it was even difficult to watch TV with her because she was just commenting on negatively on just about everything. And would say to her, sometimes things aren't good or bad. Sometimes they just are.
Yeah.
And she genuinely asked me, how do you start thinking that way? How do you get to the point where that's not the first thought in your head, where you can start to let go of those thoughts or those
Yeah.
judgments?
Yeah. Well, I love that. It's such a good question, and how beautiful that she would even ask you that, right?
Hmm.
But because a lot of people don't even go there. But the way you do that, the first thing you can start doing is you can ask the question.
Hmm.
And this is really important. When you ask a question, you're not asking your own brain. You're asking a higher consciousness, whether you think that's your higher self, a
Hmm.
universal law, divine intelligence, the universe, God, your angels, your guides. Just ask it like you don't have the answer. Your personality self, the one who believes that
Right.
something is wrong. So
Hmm.
you must ask the question open-ended of some higher intelligence or expanded, elevated intelligence. First, you can ask, how is this serving me somehow? How is this meant to serve me?
Hmm.
How is this in some way? How can this somehow be good or right? Even if my personality self at this current moment has no idea.
Hmm.
And you ask it in such an open-minded way that you allow that insight or wisdom or consciousness to come to you. And By the way, one of the ways that's going to come to you is through the law of synchronicity, which we already
Mm-hmm.
talked about. Because the
Mm-hmm.
moment you, and the law of cause and effect, another question, right? Be in the highest planes of existence, all these laws aren't necessary, but in our reality, they help us, they guide
Mm-hmm.
us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you ask a question and the question is not answered, the law of cause and effect will, an answer must be provided.
Yeah.
The law of synchronicity will begin to organize and synchronize.
And
And the,
faster than ever before.
yes.
Yeah.
And your own higher self, by the way, will
Mm-hmm.
ensure that the answer comes to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, this is how everything works together. So learning how to ask questions in a positive way
Mm-hmm.
that allow you to receive clarity in such a way that you're gaining some form of insight, guidance, wisdom. That's the step. That's the answer to what your mother asked you. That's the
Yes.
first thing you can do,
Yes.
is to begin to recognize. So for example, let's go to one of the darkest things. Are you willing? On
Sure.
our planet, like child sex trafficking that's
Mm-hmm.
been kept secret, right? And now
Mm-hmm.
it's being exposed. Well, there's nothing good about that.
Right.
Nothing. However, the wisdom that we can gain about learning to love the inner child,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
learning to honor the child, the sweet, innocent child within,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
learning to recognize our value and our worth as all of us as sweet inner children is what exposes that and
Mm-hmm.
begins to us to say, we will not allow this anymore.
Yes.
We're no longer going to sweep this under the carpet or pretend it doesn't exist. We will
Yeah.
no longer tolerate this.
Mm-hmm.
And the change that we make by recognizing the sweet innocence of every living being
Mm-hmm.
and honoring that sweet innocence and caring and nurturing for the sweet innocence in ourselves, in others, that's what
Right.
eradicates it.
Right. It's a beautiful way to look at that. It's a great way to look at that. And then also looking at the walls that have been up that have protected that types of things and those channels that are also now being exposed and we're finding out all that we don't know and
Right.
giving people the opportunity to say that we're not going to do this anymore.
Yes.
So, rather than
And
get incensed when you watch it on the TV and just
yes.
become enraged.
Right. You
Um,
can't, because the enragement, you see, every time we become enraged, what we're doing is we're perpetuating
mhm.
the stories that were allowed to exist in the first place, because rage feeds that system.
Right. Yeah.
Rage feeds the very system that's based in the oligarchy, patriarchy. I will benefit to your harm and detriment. Because the moment you go to rage, you're using that energy to
Hmm.
feed that system,
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
perpetuate that story. So if you don't want to feed that system, this is part of the healing journey of saying, okay, how can I find within myself some way to heal and resolve rage that exists within me?
Hmm. Yeah.
What is it within me that goes to rage as a solution?
Hmm.
Because rage is not a solution.
Right.
Love is a
It's a
solution.
reaction. Right. Hmm.
Compassion is a solution.
Hmm.
Forgiveness is a solution.
Hmm.
Loving kindness is a solution. Uh, some form of transformation is being called for,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Truthfully, the people who are in the darkest of the dark doing some of those darkest of dark things are lacking in love,
Oh,
lacking
sure.
in compassion,
Yeah.
lacking in lacking in the recognition that we're all connected,
Hmm.
that you cannot harm another without harming yourself. It's
Hmm.
impossible.
Hmm. Yeah. That's another thing that it's sort of a mechanism that I've learned is there's just something you just really dislike. I'm going to say hate for lack of a better word. The more that you love it, the more that you can learn to love it, the quicker it will go away.
Yes. Or
But
at the very least, if you can't love it, because some people really feel like they can't love it. They like, this is one of the things we do in my circles, we bring in the energy of magnanimity,
hmm.
right? That is God's energy. That is
Hmm.
God's love. The ability to love something that seems entirely unlovable. But
Right.
once you can start to embody that energy, it gets a lot easier. But for the
Yes.
people who just cannot love something, and I get it, that you're still in
Yeah.
some of those more denser, heavier energies.
Sure.
It seems impossible to love. Well, then bring in
Yeah.
compassion. or
So you don't
forgiveness.
you don't learn to love what they're doing. You love, in other words, you don't hate. I won't even say love the person or the people that are involved, but you don't hate them, and that you have compassion, like you said, and then loving the transmutation that we're seeing, and hopefully the healing and the help that the people can get. And that to me helps sort of branch that feeling of judgment and
Mhm.
again. And it's
Yeah.
easier. The more you do it, the more I think the reaction is less. You've got more time to think about it before you immediately go into that judgment on certain
Yeah.
things, depending on what
I,
it
I
is.
just, I also want to say that this is part of what I do with my people is I teach embodiment because when you become the energy of love, and I'm not just talking about human love. This is beyond
Right.
human love. When you become these energy, you can't not be those things.
Right.
You can't not be love.
Yeah.
You can't, you can't not be divine truth.
Mm-hmm.
Because the divine truth can really piss people off.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't not, truth is a kind of love. This is
Mm-hmm.
all under the umbrella of love. So you just are being those things. So then when you see this, it's not like I don't get angry and upset and perturbed about what's going on in the world. That's not love. It's that I recognize that is collapsing in my presence
Mm-hmm.
because I am part of the solution on earth.
I love
That's what
that.
I'm inviting other people to become more of. Because
Yes.
if you start becoming the solution, that stuff can't take you down. You're
Mm-hmm.
the one taking it down.
Right. It's so people are going to get a chance to work with you in person in Punta Gorda to
Yes.
actually do 2-hour workshops with you. And it's really awesome what we've been able to do. A VIP ticket for the entire weekend is only $40.
Mhm.
And that includes a workshop one each day with you. And then there's other things that are included in it too. And if you go to our website, spiritfestusa.com, look for that Punta Gorda tab to see the in-depth work that Lori is doing there. And it's about time for us to go to a break. But while we're on the break, if you want to check out Lori's website, lorispagna.com, and it's Spagna. And then I see you give away free gifts on there too. So we always tell
Yeah, they
people,
can get some samples so that when they come in person, they'll be like, that DNA activation was so awesome. Can we do some more?
awesome, awesome. All right, well, very good. Let's take a break and everybody stick with us and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Hello, friends. My name is David Trotter. I'm the founder and publisher of Awakened Magazine, and we are deeply honored to collaborate with Mary Ellen Popyk, the Sanctuary Network, and Spirit Fest Expos. At Awakened Magazine, we are dedicated to amplifying the voices of conscious leaders, healers, and coaches as we all help awaken our world to love. We do that through our digital magazine. We release several interviews and numerous articles every single week at awakenedmagazine.com. We have a print magazine that comes out several times a year. We have a co-authored book series called Awakened Hearts that we've had multiple bestsellers and incredible authors joining us. And of course, we have our own expo right here in Southern California every year. Hey, if you haven't already checked it out, I encourage you to watch the interview that I did with Mary Ellen Popyk. You can find it at awakenedmagazine.com. Just search Mary Ellen. It'll pop right up. You will love getting to know her and her backstory. And if you haven't already, get a free subscription to Awakened Magazine. You can find that at awakenedmagazine.com.
Florida has a great new option for healthy living. Our Natural Health Expos were a hit last year, so 2026 brings more events around Florida. This special event offers health and wellness opportunities for people and pets. High-quality experts in well-being, healing, anti-aging, and natural living. Plus, you'll find speakers, demonstrations, and much more. All details, list of locations, and discounted admission can be found at naturalwellnessexpo.com. Join us for Spirit Fest, coming soon to a city near you. Spirit Fest is a metaphysical, holistic, and crystal expo featuring an amazing array of vendors, speakers, authors, artists, crystals, healers, psychic readers, and more. Spirit Fest is your chance to explore and connect with others of like mind. Get all details, including our upcoming locations up and down the East Coast, also discounted admission, and more at spiritfestusa.com. Our next event is January 10th and 11th with special guests and special presentations, including psychic explorer, medium Mark Anthony, and also historical researcher, explorer, and author Jim Vieira. More details are coming to our website soon, and we look forward to seeing you at Spirit Fest in 2026. Welcome back, everybody, to the Sanctuary for Mind, Body, and Spirit. I am here with our spiritual teacher, Lori Spagna, best-selling author, intuitive, multidimensional channel, and we always have the greatest high vibe conversations. And another reason I'm really excited you're going to be joining us at Spirit Fest in Punta Gorda, or Punta Gorda, as the locals would say. That's one of our favorite venues. It's so beautiful. Have you been there before, Lori?
No, I'm really excited about it.
This beautiful hallway when you go in, and it's all mosaic sea creatures. And
wow.
It's just really high vibe. It's on the Charlotte Harbor. It's like literally right on the water. It's really great.
I love Charlotte Harbor. So
beautiful. Oh yeah. And it's just relaxed. It's really nice. But you've got two different workshops. And again, we adjusted the pricing. So it's not going to be a lot of money for people to take all of the workshops that are going to be offered that weekend. So Saturday, your workshop is 5 simple steps to transform your reality and expand your consciousness. But even though you say it's simple steps, I know you go really in depth. And I know that you give people a lot of really great information for people at every level of their study.
Well, what I want to say about it is that it's not just about when you understand these steps, you're going to learn them through the brain.
Mm-hmm.
But because we have enough time, you're going to have direct experience.
Mm-hmm.
See, nothing trumps direct experience. Too many people on planet Earth are trying to evolve through the brain.
Yes.
Through learning through the brain. That's not how it happens.
Yes.
This is why when somebody really they can't love something because they see it as so unlovable. But when you have direct experience, what we're really talking about is embodiment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a transformation of not only the way we think and what we believe, we start aligning ourselves with divine truth,
Mm-hmm.
which is absolute truth, fundamental truths of this reality. So we start aligning and embodying the energies that are of love.
Mm-hmm.
So we are, and I'm talking about the umbrella of love, because love isn't all, I mean, love is all there is, but yeah, there's, all these other frequencies within that umbrella of love, so to speak.
Right.
So we start calling in these energies. We are them. We are the embodiment. This is how this happens. So the 5 simple steps are just to prepare you for
Mm-hmm.
what you're going to experience through direct experience that is
Right.
so transformational. And that's really the key here, because we're shifting. Part of this old paradigm shift
Mm-hmm.
into this new paradigm shift is where we're not overusing the brain. We're utilizing the brain in a more balanced and coherent way.
Mm-hmm.
So we're using not just the overuse of the left analytical brain, which is what's been happening. That's
Mm-hmm.
why you see you can look at some of the stuff in the world and this is just like so literally, you're like, are they kidding? Like
Yeah.
the ridiculousness of some of it, because people are seeing that because we're starting to use more of our brain more fully, rather than just 10% in that old paradigm being
Yes.
used in a conscious way. Now
Mm-hmm.
we're using much more of our brain in a conscious way. We're utilizing left and right brain hemispheres when we
Mm-hmm.
start doing this work.
Mm-hmm.
And we're starting to build the muscle of the
Mm-hmm.
heart and use more of the brain matter in the heart in
Yeah.
a conscious way. And we're using more of the frequencies of the brain. So more brain waves in an
Mm-hmm.
active way. We could talk about this
Mm-hmm.
more, but this is the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Yeah.
you start actually engaging,
Mm-hmm.
you are changing as a human from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And who you are fundamentally is being restored. Because who you are, and when I say you, I mean all of us,
Mm-hmm.
we
Yeah.
are the
Mm-hmm.
divine,
Yes.
reawakening in form. We're not the whole of it,
Yes.
but we're the individuated aspect that identifies as ourself,
Mm-hmm.
reclaiming who we truly are, which
Yeah.
is love embodied,
Yeah.
which is the glorification of God.
It's
The
time. It's
Yes,
time
the
for people to
divinity.
step up and
Right.
not be afraid and not,
Yes.
now is the time.
Yes. We're
And
liberating ourselves from fear
mhm,
and we're embodying all these new frequencies. So absolutely requires active participation
mhm,
through direct experience. And
mhm.
that's what we're doing at Spirit Fest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both
And
days.
also just the collective of all of the people there that are being of such a high vibration. When you're in that too, a lot of people say that it is easier. Once, everybody else is at that frequency, you're already there. And then you can just elevate that much more. And
Yes.
then, and then that's going to last too after you leave as well.
Yes.
But just we've got so many good things going on. Punta Gorda is our biggest show of the year, 90 vendors.
Wow.
And that's 90 vendors. So that's, because a lot of people have double spaces. So it's a lot. And then people can meet you when you're there too.
Yes.
Your workshops are from 3 to 5 each day.
Yeah.
So
What's the Sunday one? The Saturday one is 5 simple steps, and the Sunday one is
being
old paradigm.
supernatural in the new paradigm. Yeah.
Yes. We're going to go over really clearly so you understand, not just from the brain, but through direct experience, old paradigm, new paradigm, how to make that shift, how to navigate it. Because
Hmm.
here's the thing. If you're walking around on Earth, and we all are going through this at different frequencies, but if you're having experiences in your life, such as health challenges, for example,
Hmm.
that your new evolved self can be restored to your ideal and optimal state of health and well-being. If you're having challenges with regard to relationships,
Hmm.
that's a form of discord, right? That means your new advanced progressed self is going to be in a state of love. You might
Hmm.
not like everybody, but you will love everybody
Hmm.
in a new and better way. You'll be able to offer anybody, even
Hmm.
if you don't necessarily like or enjoy them, a kind of love or acknowledgement or honor or appreciation or recognition or validate of some kind, because you're going to embody this, right? But you making the shift, that's the practice in the Sunday, both of them,
Yeah.
right? So if you're having relationship troubles, that's because you're in some form of discordance. So you need to make that shift. If you're having some form of lack, whether it's money or wealth, some form of wealth or lack of
Hmm.
joy in your life, even that's another form of lack. That's because some part of you still plugged into that old paradigm, and you need to make that energetic shift to who you truly are and who you're meant
Hmm.
to be. This is all what's going on. This is what ascension is. It's all of us changing
Right.
from the inside out and making these
Hmm.
shifts. So that's what we're going to be doing on Sunday.
Hmm.
We're doing in both days, but they're different topic areas
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
different ways of approaching it. But you get the direct experience in each of them because
Yeah.
Mary Ellen, you've been so wonderful to give us the amount of time so that it's
Yeah.
not just an hour presentation and then you leave everybody like, no, they get to
Yeah.
have direct experience
And that's
where
why
they
we
learn about
adjusted
it
the
and do it.
price because it's
Yeah.
not, just we want to make sure that everybody can attend.
Yeah.
And there's only 80 tickets available for each day because that's how many the room can sit. So, but it really just to be able to be in there and then people can ask questions.
Yes.
You'll meet other people of like mind. You don't have to interact with other people, but it's really nice if you do end up being able to do that. But something that people bring up when they come in a lot is they come to Spirit Fest first of all just because it's fun and they enjoy it and they want to do and experience high vibe things, but everybody's working on themselves and who doesn't want to be better. But a lot of people are having challenges with family members or people that are in their close inner circle
Yeah.
that are doing things that are out of their control
Right.
and they would do anything in their life to be able to change it or help that person. What would you say to the people that are in circumstances like that?
Yeah. Well, first, most of the time you've been put in those families on purpose
Hmm.
so that you can be the energy that's going to help elevate them.
Hmm.
So just knowing that alone, right? There's always sort of a black sheep in almost every family, right? I am the one in mine, so I get it. But the other thing is everywhere there's resistance within you, that's what you need to, you meaning whoever you are.
Hmm.
It's your resistance. Your resistance is everywhere we're in a push-pull dynamic, like a rubber band. Like the right and the wrong, the resistance, the judgment, the wrongness. I want to help them because they're not making it, right?
Right.
All of that has to be worked on. Like when I
Mhm.
say worked on, I'm talking about you coming into these energetic spaces where this kind of transformation can happen
Mhm.
because that's what you're here for.
Right.
There's
Right.
no wrongness
Right.
that you're here, you're dealing with that.
Yeah.
That's what you came for,
Right.
right?
And understanding that you may not be able to um fix it or change it.
Well, here's the thing I want to say, because I mean, I went through all this stuff with my family too.
Hmm.
It's to understand that most ascending beings, one of the ways we ascend, one of the ways we progress is through the recognition, the honoring of free will.
Yes.
So a lot of times we're put in a family dynamic where someone in the family is simply not willing to change or grow.
Hmm.
And our job is to learn this kind of acceptance and honoring of free will
Hmm.
because that is part of the journey.
Right.
There are beings on planet Earth who are not going to make this transition in this lifetime.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
okay. That's their choice.
Yeah.
And they may be in our own family structures.
Hmm.
And that's okay because at the end of life, there's basically this is the deal. You return to love.
Yes.
You drop the body.
Right.
You drop the emotional body. You
Yeah.
drop the mental body. You come into pure consciousness, pure awareness, and your love.
Yeah.
Now, as an eternal soul who progresses, if you don't progress that much in this lifetime, you are likely going
Hmm.
to choose, as an eternal soul who maybe didn't progress as much in this lifetime, maybe you're most likely going to choose because it is true, the progress you make as an evolving being in this lifetime
Hmm.
is beyond life.
Hmm.
In other words, you're going to progress as an eternal soul, meaning you have more choices available to you about what you will do in future incarnations, or
Right.
where you will go, or who
Hmm.
you'll embody with, or
Hmm.
what you're going to have to work through. So that's why we do the work in this lifetime. But
Right.
for those who didn't, they're still going to return to love. It's just that their soul will likely need to somehow, likely
Hmm.
they will choose, hey, I didn't learn compassion, or I
Hmm.
didn't learn forgiveness, or I didn't really ascend as or advanced or progress, or I didn't hear the truth when it was spoken to me. So I'm going to want to repeat that so that I
Yes.
can grow and evolve as a soul. So, but they're still knowing themselves as love.
Hmm.
They're still going to progress and evolve. And most likely, most
Hmm.
humans will reincarnate again, you know, in a dynamic that will allow them. Could be harder for them if they took a total vacation lifetime in this
Right.
lifetime.
Uh-huh.
They might choose it to be a little harder the next time. But
Right.
it's the soul who chooses out of love,
Right. Right.
not
So
because they're
so
being
it's
punished, just
it's
because
our
they're,
actions that we need to. But so
yeah,
in a lot of situations, you have three choices. You can accept it, you can change it, or leave. But when it's your child, it's a different dynamic, I think, or something like that in that type of a situation, or a parent, or even a brother or sister. A lot of people are just not going to leave because they just feel like that would be abandoning their family member or things
yeah,
like that. So, but
yeah,
there are situations, and I was even trying to think of some examples, but I because I don't want to reveal too much personal information, but we've had people come in that have gotten readings with people where maybe there was some mediumship and something came through that was such clarity. And, you get validation from the mediums or from psychic readers too. And that's how you know that they're on the right path is when they know things or you hear things that you just know other people wouldn't know. But when they're able to give a little bit more clarity or give a little bit of extra information and that you can just see things from a bigger picture. So
yeah,
then, you might get a little bit of clarity, but then you can do some of your own healing or, processing the grief or things like that too.
yeah.
You
Well, let me
know,
say, I mean, I've been in this, I consider myself now to be a veteran of this stuff. Like I've been in this genre for now 25 years and
wow.
I know what's out there. I've been
Hmm.
interacting, right?
Hmm.
And I always know like the best, I mean, I consider myself to be an awesome psychic. Like I really think I'm such a great psychic, right? Because I've just been around the block. Like I can know things in 2,
Right.
Sometimes I know things that the person's not even, they're
Right.
not ready to hear it or know it. They're just
Yes.
not at that level because I can talk to their higher self. I can
Hmm.
talk to their oversoul. I mean, all their guides light up. Like most people's teams really want to get through to them.
Hmm.
And the human identity is just functioning in this human world with so much density
Hmm.
and challenge and
Hmm.
turmoil, et cetera. And there's just a lot of trauma on earth that has
Hmm.
people have lost their way, which is why,
Hmm.
that's the whole, we can get into this, extraterrestrial thing if you want to go down that route.
Hmm. Hmm.
The point is that really good, amazing psychics, mediums, intuitives, energy workers who are highly intuitive, what what to me, one of the measures is, do they meet you where you're at and then elevate you?
Hmm.
Do they help you to see through or past your own blocks or your own blind spots? Because there's nobody on planet Earth that doesn't have blocks or blind spots.
Right.
And everyone's trying to work through them. There's
Hmm.
nobody who isn't carrying some kind of trauma.
Hmm.
So, does that person you're working with somehow help you to sort of see or understand in such a way that they greet you, they recognize you? In other words, to a certain degree, you're going to be like, I already know that. To a certain degree, you have to. Because if I have given readings in the past to people, there have been times where it was like they just didn't get it. And I was like, okay, I'm talking to their higher self. This is too far
Hmm.
beyond where their human is right now. I'm going to need to like go
Hmm.
down lower, so to speak. That's not even a fair way to say because there's no wrongness, but I need to meet them where they're at
Hmm.
before I can bring them to this level of what I've already got for
Hmm.
them. And sometimes it's a matter of time. Like 20 minutes isn't always enough. Sometimes they need an hour, or
Sure.
maybe they need more. But that's the thing. If you're working with someone that somehow it helps you to not only be understood or heard or seeks validate something like what you said, Mary Ellen,
Hmm.
that you sort of already know or have the awareness of, and then elevates you even further,
Yes.
expands even more for you,
Hmm.
uplifts even more, not just telling you what you already know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now that's a recipe for some really amazing help, right? And that's like what enlightenment is, because you start having these epiphanies. You're like,
Hmm.
okay, oh my God, I didn't realize that. Oh my God, wow, I
Yeah.
did not realize that. And
And
those are
the,
like the best kind of, right?
and the higher your frequency is, in my experience, then the more they come. Those little
Yes.
epiphanies, the more those little nuggets just kind of
Yes.
be able to work their way in. If
Yes.
if you get out of bed on the wrong foot, literally, you just kind of wake up, oh, forgot about that. Oh gosh darn it, I've got to do that today. Oh, I really didn't want to do that. And that person really torqued me off yesterday. If you wake up like that, that just sort of sets the tone. But
Mhm.
truly, if you can just wake up in gratitude and just be ready for what the universe is going to surprise and delight you with, you really do get that. You really
Yes.
do find it.
Yes.
And again, it's hard, and it's a 3D thing, to just kind of be in that side of your brain where you're analyzing things. But the more that we do it, it becomes like a reflex, I've found, where it's just easier to be in that state
Yes.
of mind.
Yes, you're retraining yourself. You have to
Hmm.
retrain your brain. You have to retrain your emotions. You have to retrain your attitude
Hmm.
to look for the good. Oh, look
Some days are
for
better than
the
others.
unexpected, joyful potentials. Yeah.
Oh,
And the other thing
yes.
you were saying earlier was about a kid, that you were saying that before about, you know, when you have a kid, you can either leave, accept, or change, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And what I want to suggest is that when you're working with divine intelligence, universal intelligence, or God, source, divine source intelligence that is omniscient, omnipresent, has every solution available, there's always other potentials,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Because your child
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
their unique soul too. Like
Hmm.
God has no grandchildren. Like that's God's child too.
Right.
And and that's an eternal soul too. Your child is an eternal soul who is love, who has chosen their journey and their path, right? The higher self is the aspect, let's call it the oversoul. The oversoul is the aspect of who you really are, in a sense, who said,
Hmm.
okay, my eternal being who's gone through incarnation to incarnation. These are the things we want to work on. I'm going to incarnate in a body with this family dynamic, and we're going to go through these challenges. And this person's going to learn and grow as the parent figure, and this person's going to learn and grow as the child figure, right? But so when the parent figure, in recognition that they're the parent figure and they have their role to play
Mm-hmm.
as the parent figure,
Mm-hmm.
goes to God, source, creator, however you identify,
Mm-hmm.
and your own higher self, and it's like, show me, help me to know, what am I meant to see or perceive or do or transform?
Yes.
What is your will here?
Mm-hmm.
What is the will of the divine here that is in the highest interest of all with zero harm?
Mm-hmm.
Now, some entirely new. And maybe it doesn't happen overnight because, again, when love synchronicity steps in, love free will, they're all responding.
Mm-hmm.
Your higher self, your oversoul, they're all like moving chess pieces, right?
Right.
So you might not see it the next day and you're like on the floor crying about something that's going on with your child or your
Right.
spouse or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But really, things are taking place because you've just made the request.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
that is how something now, sometimes people miss it. They
Mm-hmm.
don't see the window that opened or the
Mm-hmm.
door or the new opportunity or new possibility, or they dismiss it. Maybe it's some new teacher or some new healer or some new therapist, or
Right.
maybe they miss that window or they don't see it, but it's okay. So you can ask again.
Right. And then also, we don't think about what might happen in the future. What may seem like a permanent ending may cycle around, and you don't know a month, a year later, or whatever. And we just don't know. What seems like it's so final and so painful
Yes.
may not actually be that. Or,
Yes.
we truly may see the lesson in it, or, the benefit that we
Yes.
got out of the experience, but not until later. But at the
Yes.
time, it just seems painful and scary.
The most
Um,
painful experiences are the greatest opportunities for growth and transformation.
hmm Yeah,
And we don't think of it like that when we're going through it. But
right.
they are always the opportunity and the opening for deeper love
Yes.
and greater transformation.
Yeah. And like
And
you
that's
said, that we may have planned to have these interactions with some of
yeah,
these people that are close
all the
to us.
major things,
Right.
we pre-pick those.
Hmm.
Meaning your free will choice, it's not just what you're going to have for dinner. I mean, where you're going to move to, where you're going to, but the major things. And when you're talking about like a parental relationship or a spousal relationship that you mentioned something ending or
Hmm.
something so like big, that those are soul contracts and agreements, right?
Right.
Those are pre-agreed. We're going to have to, this terrible, horrible, painful thing is going to come up so that we can work through this in some way.
Hmm.
You your way, me my way, you with your lessons you're meant to get and your growth and your learning and your transfer, and me with mine.
Hmm.
And ultimately, it is going to expand somehow into greater love,
Hmm.
somehow. And
Hmm.
I know that I've been on the floor myself plenty of times with my own come to Jesus moments, so I get it.
Yeah.
But I do recognize, I really, really get it, that all of the traumas and pains that I've worked through,
Hmm.
including dealing with people who were hurtful and harmful or relationships that were challenging, whatever they like, I've gone through that, the ringer. And that
Hmm.
is what has really developed my capacity to, to offer love and to share these gifts. And I don't think like, just as a side note, I don't think that you can just, pick up this kind of growth and transformation when you're on a vacation lifetime and everything's going great all the time.
Right. Right.
It's just not how this goes. And one of the things that happened to me like many years ago when I was stepping onto my journey, I had moved to Maui. And, my husband was divorcing me. I left corporate America. I've got dead relatives talking to me. I've got animals are talking to me.
Hmm.
And I'm like, all alone in Maui. I have no friends. I don't know anyone. And, I spent a lot of time just trying to meditate and heal because there was a lot of trauma I was working through. And prior to that, I was like drinking excessively, smoking excessively. I had like credit card debt up the yin yang. Was all doing all kinds of unhealthy behaviors. And, I was on pharmaceutical drugs from well-meaning doctors. And I couldn't even afford that anymore. I didn't have a pot to piss in. So I'd sit there in like meditative states a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I had one of these like moments, this meditative state where like out of like from my inner eye. I didn't call this vision forward. I wasn't visualizing.
Mhm.
It was like this sort of twisted staircase. And down the staircase comes a vision in my, like, I didn't make this up, of Einstein carrying a silver platter.
Mhm.
And he's coming down the staircase with this silver platter. He gets down to me, standing like in front of me, and the platter's empty. And I'm like, okay. He's like, we're going to give it to you all on a silver platter, but you're going to have to
Wow.
work for it. You're going to
Uh-huh.
have to work for it.
Mhm.
It doesn't seem like it's right here.
Mhm.
And I mean, that was like I was so amazed. And it was like 20 years. This stuff doesn't just land in your lap.
Right.
You do have to work for it.
Right.
And and it's not like, I think a lot of people just think they can just close their eyes and it's done.
Yeah.
It's not like that. And part of the way we work for it is through overcoming these really challenging kinds of situations. It's part of it. It
Something
doesn't
that I
always have to be that way, but
Something that I see commonly is people will come to Spirit Fest and see the different psychics or the different healers and want somebody to wave a magic wand
yeah.
and make everything better. And then that's what we have to explain to them is it, and I'm speaking from my own experience too. Oh, heal me, make me feel better. But
Yeah.
really, we need to do the work ourselves. There's nothing that's going to take the place of that.
Yeah.
Whether it's releasing things or, opening up the space to be able to, like you say, do that divine embodiment. And I'm seeing that it's almost time to go to break again. So,
Well, I just want to comment real quick on that once we get back. I mean, because we have to de-brainwash ourselves from this take a pill and everything will be better. That
yes,
is part of the brainwashing of the old paradigm to keep people
yes,
dumb and stupid. And I don't
yes.
mean that in a condescending way at all. It's
No,
like,
it's, mhm,
we're not here to take a pill. We're here
yes.
to transform.
That's the perfect way to start the next segment. So, to find out where you can meet Lori and take her workshops in a few weeks in Punta Gorda, spiritfestusa.com, and then there's a tab at the top. You'll see the Punta Gorda show. To find out more about Lori, her website is lorispagna.com. Spagna is Spagna. Look for the tab for her free gifts, and then you can get some pre-work done there on her site. And all of our information about our upcoming shows is on there too. So hang out with us and come back. And again, if people would like to call in or comment on Facebook, we're enjoying reading your and hearing your thoughts too on the conversation. So join us back here in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Hello, friends. My name is David Trotter. I'm the founder and publisher of Awakened Magazine, and we are deeply honored to collaborate with Mary Ellen Popyk, the Sanctuary Network, and Spirit Fest Expos. At Awakened Magazine, we are dedicated to amplifying the voices of conscious leaders, healers, and coaches as we all help awaken our world to love. We do that for our digital magazine. We release several interviews and numerous articles every single week at awakenedmagazine.com. We have a print magazine that comes out several times a year. We have a co-authored book series called Awakened Hearts that we've had multiple bestsellers and incredible authors joining us. And of course, we have our own expo right here in Southern California every year. Hey, if you haven't already checked it out, I encourage you to watch the interview that I did with Mary Ellen Popyk. You can find it at awakenedmagazine.com. Just search Mary Ellen. It'll pop right up. You will love getting to know her and her backstory. And if you haven't already, get a free subscription to Awakened Magazine. You can find that at awakenedmagazine.com.
Florida has a great new option for healthy living. Our natural health expos were a hit last year, so 2026 brings more events around Florida. This special event offers health and wellness opportunities for people and pets. High quality experts in well-being, healing, anti-aging, and natural living. Plus, you'll find speakers, demonstrations, and much more. All details, lists of locations, and discounted admission can be found at naturalwellnessexpo.com. Join us for Spirit Fest, coming soon to a city near you. Spirit Fest is a metaphysical, holistic, and crystal expo. featuring an amazing array of vendors, speakers, authors, artists, crystals, healers, psychic readers, and more. Spirit Fest is your chance to explore and connect with others of like mind. Get all details, including our upcoming locations up and down the East Coast, also discounted admission, and more at spiritfestusa.com. Our next event is January 10th and 11th with special guests and special presentations, including psychic explorer, medium Mark Anthony, and also historical researcher, explorer, and author Jim Vieira. More details are coming to our website soon, and we look forward to seeing you at Spirit Fest in 2026. Welcome back to the Sanctuary for Mind, Body, and Spirit. I am here with our special guest, Lori Spagna. She is our spiritual teacher, our spiritual coach. And we're in the middle of discussing about the take a pill theory that a lot of people would rather do than do the spiritual work that we need to do to be able to, become the highest level. And so some of it isn't just the learning. It's because you can read a bunch of books, but if you don't practice what you read, that doesn't help. But a lot of it is unlearning certain things that we've learned in the past, but then also letting go of so many different things. So talk to us more about that transformation process and some of the hurdles that people are creating for themselves on accidentally right now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just, everybody wants to feel better. Everybody wants to feel better. The thing is that the old paradigm, because we've been operating in this old paradigm, we've just been absorbing and being energies and trapped energies and that are creating this, we're not feeling well, whether it's anxiety or depression or, anger, resentment, judge, grudge, grief, sorrow, upset, discourse of some like chat, like, argument and debate. That's a big one. People just, they're just wired into arguing. So these ways of being, there's no amount of pills that can literally and figuratively, you can't get rid of that. No healer can just wave their arm. That's part of the brainwashing too, is this idea that some minister or pastor or some religious figure puts their hands on you, the wheelchair gets rolled up, and then the hands go on, and then hallelujah 5 seconds later. I'm not saying that's impossible. I'm saying that's not the norm. That's not really how it works. So we all came here at this time to do that inner work. And if we're not doing it, it's a form of spiritual bypassing. But this is what I'm saying is, what I'm really saying is you have two options. This is it, two options. You can continue, and say you, but I mean a person can continue to suppress or deny how they feel and go to healer after healer or reader after reader and ask them to make them feel better. Right. Or take pills. That is a solution, but that is not a real solution. That will not work. That's just a Band-Aid. Or they can say, all right, I'm going to do the inner work that's required. What's the inner work? It's freaking joyful. It's not hard work. Right. It does require you to actively participate. Meaning, I mean, some of it's hard work, but it's harder work not to do it. When you're not doing it, you're in pain, you're in suffering. When you are doing it, you're getting help. How are you getting help? Whether it's your angels, your guides, your masters, teachers, loved ones, your higher self, your divine team, God, the divine, your animal kingdom members, like there's, whether it's Mother Earth and nature realms, you will get help. Yes. And so the inner work that we call work is most of the time not much more than some things like, okay, I'm journaling about how these triggers or how this made me feel or how I behave or what discourse or what was that, or I'm making bullet points. I'm noticing where I'm living out of a space where I'm not in a space of love or joy or fulfillment or contentment or kindness. Like I'm making note of it. I'm aware of it. I'm paying attention. And now I'm actively doing something to transmute that? What does that mean?
Right.
I either have to sit in a healing circle, or I have to do some kind of energy work, or some kind of prayer work, or some kind of change in the way I'm thinking. I have to
Mm-hmm.
choose to think differently. I have to choose to feel differently. Like that's the work. But
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, the work is quite joyful. Like when we're doing work in my energy healing circles, it's like it's so good. You're getting into a state of such energetic, beyond love, bliss, joy,
Mm-hmm.
divine love, divine peace,
Mm-hmm.
divine harmony, where you're in such a kind of an ecstatic state, and you're not bypassing, you're recognizing that there's something that you're asking the divine
Mm-hmm.
to heal and resolve for you,
Mm-hmm.
and to replace it with some form of divine truth or divine wisdom or divine guidance or divine clarity or
Mm-hmm.
some kind of gifts that God wants to provide to you, so that you're no longer carrying that burden with you. Now, this
Yes.
is a beautiful, brilliant, I mean, amazing state. It's not hard. I'm not going to the gym and lifting weights,
Right. Yeah.
but it is, you are doing work, and you can't
Yeah.
just spiritual bypass, and you can't. This is one of the things that people do is that they'll blame, the game of blame. That's old paradigm,
Mm-hmm.
blaming someone else or making someone else wrong, or trying to put expectations on someone else, how they should behave, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have their free will. So the only work you can do, this is what we were saying earlier, is on your own self, right?
Right.
That's the work.
Mm-hmm.
The work is, what am I thinking? What are my beliefs? What are my
Right.
belief systems? What is my perspective? Is this
Right.
serving? Is this not serving? Is this aligned with love? Am I being the expression of love? Like, well, how am I expressing myself? Am I in my authenticity? Am I being
Mm-hmm.
authentic? Am I being kind? Am I being loving? Am I being honest? Who am
Mm-hmm.
I being?
Mm-hmm.
What are my emotions? How am I feeling? Like, what are my feelings?
Mm-hmm.
And people will say, well, you made me feel that way. Well, that's blame,
Right.
right? Or that thing. Okay, if you say that thing triggered me, okay, now you're one step closer.
Mm-hmm.
I got triggered by that thing, person, place, experience, whatever. Okay, good. What's behind that trigger? What does that trigger? What's being called for?
Yes.
What healing
Exactly.
or resolution is desired, is
Mm-hmm.
needed, right?
Yes.
So it's all these levels and layers. That's the work.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not doing that, you're somehow spiritually bypassing. Also, if you're, I've interacted with people before who kind of like think they're on the path,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still very unkind.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
that tells me, oh, if you think you're on the path, because you
Mm-hmm.
know about this stuff. You've sat in some Reiki circles maybe, or you're around other psychics, or you've got some kind. But if you're still unkind or condescending, or not operating, you could tell the difference. Somebody, like when somebody's in their brain all the time, it doesn't matter. Their energy is not coherent, because they're
Right.
not in their heart yet,
Right.
right? Because when you're around someone who's in their heart, because when you're near them, you feel
Yes.
overall
Mm-hmm.
somehow positively expanded or uplifted.
Mm-hmm.
They will be honoring in some way.
Yes.
They will be respectful. They will be kind. And they're not perfect. None of us are expected to be perfect. That's not the game here. The
Right.
game is, I'm recognizing, I'm choosing to be in this, I'm operating from the heart space,
Mm-hmm.
right? People generally, when we're in our heart space, there is a kind of a positive upliftment and expansion. Whereas if somebody's in the brain space, there's kind of a argument debate. I don't see that. I don't understand that. That's not good enough. Prove this to me. Prove that to me.
Mm-hmm.
Cynic, skeptic. Why is this good? How's this going to serve? Why can't I just get that for free? I can just find it free somewhere.
Right.
That
Oh,
that's that
yes.
kind of thing.
Yes.
Like fix me, heal me.
Right.
You haven't proven it to me. You didn't help me enough. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You always know if somebody's at Spirit Fest. I mean, I haven't run into these people, but if you have somebody who's like, you haven't fixed me enough, you haven't helped me enough, because you kind of mentioned something in that genre, they're
Mm-hmm.
still in their brain.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the heart will always first say, wow, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for your offering.
Yeah.
It's honoring. I honor what you're here doing.
Right.
Even if it doesn't necessarily resonate with me,
Mm-hmm.
there's always an exchange. We're recognizing exchanges of
Mm-hmm.
energy.
Yes.
Everything even this paradigm, there's exchange of energy, but here the
Mhm.
exchange of energy isn't always very positive, or isn't
Mhm.
necessarily, it could be somebody benefiting to the harm or detriment of another. It could be somebody stealing and then
Yeah.
they get stolen from, or it could be
Yes.
somebody winning the lottery and then they're not responsible and then they lose it all. Like there's still exchanges of energy here.
Right.
But here,
Right.
the exchange of energy is going to be based on I'm more than happy to pay you for this fair energy exchange. I'm
Hmm.
more than happy to honor and I express my gratitude.
Hmm.
I'm recognizing you. There's always exchanges. Here, the exchanges are going to be based in love.
Yes.
Here, the exchanges are going to be based in some form of hierarchical system that could be lack,
Hmm.
limitation, stealing, theft, dishonoring,
Hmm.
dissension, etc.
It's
Yeah.
interesting that you bring up money because that is something that we discuss as a whole. And most of the people are at this level, which I think is so great, that looking at money as an energy exchange. Sorry, the cat, they're kittens and they do what they want when they want. Um, they understand that it's not just about, paper currency that you're going to get to spend somewhere, that, and that's what it is. It is an energy exchange. And we've
Yes.
found that a lot of times if people give stuff away free, it's not appreciated.
Oh my God, so true.
Yeah.
It's so
And
true.
could you get your butt out of there?
It's
Sorry.
not honoring God.
Yeah.
It does not honor or glorify God for us to be impoverished.
Right. Right.
And that is not, God is infinite prosperity, infinite wealth. It's
Yes.
not honoring of God for us to try to penny pinch one another
Yeah. And
or
that's
ourselves.
why we don't look at the end of the weekend what we made in dollars and cents. We look
I
at
know
the
you don't.
connections that we made and,
Yes.
the repeat business that we're going to have. And we just know that we'll be provided for. We know that everything
Yes.
will work. We
Yeah.
do encounter a lot, which is so frustrating for me, is why don't we give free admission to Spirit
Yeah.
Fest? And this was not anything I planned to bring up either. And we just have to explain to people the venues are very expensive and getting
Yeah.
more and more and more expensive. It's almost double what we were paying 2 year or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And we either need to shift that cost onto the vendors, and a lot of the vendors just can't afford that with their travel fees and everything. So
Yeah.
when you go to a psychic reader, you're not paying for their psychic talent. You're paying for the training that they did, the experience that
Oh
they
my
have.
God, so true.
Yeah, their transportation and things like that too. And that's why it's a true energy
Right.
exchange.
Yeah,
Um,
I had that recently. I had a woman saying to me something like, "Well, I can, get my community for free." And I was like, "Yeah, but you can't find someone with 25 years of the experience, the knowledge,
right.
the wisdom. Like when someone's paying me, it's not that they're paying me for an hour.
Hmm.
They're paying me for a lifetime of full-time dedicate, and it's not even a lifetime. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's lifetime
Yes.
of dedication, of application, of discipleship.
Hmm.
And that is not something one can achieve. This is what we were saying earlier with the whole, like the example of the Einstein. It's not handed on a silver platter. It's not
Right.
you. That was hard. My expertise is hard earned, and I will
Hmm.
stand for and vouch anyone else who has been
Hmm.
like honestly dedicated to this full time for their life. This stuff is,
Hmm.
it's not fake or woo woo.
Yeah.
This is not just like, oh, I'm just going to pull a card or pull a rabbit out of the hat. This
Right.
stuff is real. This
And
is
that's
real. And the
pers
divine is
personally,
real.
I'm so interested in making sure that we have good quality vendors like
Yes, I
you,
know that about
really
you.
experienced and knowledgeable spiritual teachers. And we just don't take any readers because some of them are not of the highest integrity.
Yes.
And that's why we want to make sure that, because to me, that's like the money changers,
Yeah.
the people who are not in it for the right reasons and aren't going to give quality information back.
Yeah.
So that's really important to us too. So
Yes.
that's why what you do, and nothing even online is good, but there's nothing that takes the place of being there in person with
Yeah.
people, I don't think.
Yeah.
Um,
I know that about you, Mary Ellen. It's one of the things I really, really like and respect about you because I've done a lot of expos over the years. And
mm,
just that's part of what has helped me because one of the things I teach is divine discernment. Like,
mm,
we need divine discernment. We need
mhm,
that even with our world leaders. Like if people had better discernment, we
mhm.
would not even allow these leaders,
Hmm.
most of these world leaders into positions of power or leadership. We would never, if people understood even basic, one of the things I teach is namology. So the
Hmm.
name FAU, when in a name, literally means fake, phony, faux.
Really? Huh.
And just think of a world person who had a prominent role and is now being brought down for the
Uh-huh.
lies and
Uh-huh.
the deceit
Hmm.
and the deliberate crimes against humanity.
Hmm.
It's in the name. Oh, this stuff is, why am I saying this? Divine discernment is so important. I'm saying it because I know that you do that at your
Hmm.
Spirit Fest. I really
Hmm.
like that. I spent a lot of time at expos, and over the years, I had to develop my own divine discernment
Hmm.
because there are, unfortunately, I mean, you can find in any industry,
Yeah.
there's fakes and phonies and frauds and
Yeah.
shysters, right?
Hmm.
And to be able to work with people who are really walking their talk and not making this stuff up, not just pulling something out of our hat. Like I have dedicated myself to truly doing my best,
Yeah.
all my endeavors to the best of my ability to serve what I call the light, which to
Hmm.
me that means God's plan
Hmm.
for lighted, for reality, for creation. Like that's why we're all here, really, is we're waking up out of this old paradigm and waking up to choose something new, to
Hmm.
not only have better lives, but also to live life in a better way.
Yes.
Because we do have challenges in this reality, and we
Hmm.
do have opportunities for growth and transformation, and we do have, our moments when we're on the floor, come to Jesus moments and things. So to me, not only is it so important to be around practitioners who really have dedicated ourselves to doing this work and who have acquired these kinds of gifts to help others in service
Hmm.
and contribution, but it's also the recognition that, yeah, I mean, you come to Spirit Fest and you're getting top
Hmm.
quality people. There's expos out there where it doesn't matter. Yeah,
Yes.
it doesn't necessarily matter.
And
So.
again, I try to look at the benefit. If I do experience one like that, I just know how we can do it better. So rather than complain about it, I just think, but what you're
But those
doing
people
literally,
are there to help teach discernment. I mean, I
right?
said this for years. I've said this for years. It used to bother people when I would say, just because somebody dresses up like Jesus and Mary doesn't mean they're the real thing. They could
Right.
just will be actors. But
Yes.
people will fall for it. Like, oh, they're in a veil and they're saying beloved. Like that doesn't make them the real deal.
Yeah.
But those people are important in our world because they help you learn discernment.
Yes. It's true, unfortunately.
They
But
help
that's
you
why,
develop your spiritual
yeah.
clarity and know-how, right?
And I don't want to talk negative about anything or anybody, but at the same time, it's hard for me to keep my mouth shut when I see things that are going on that I know is just not the quality that people
Right.
deserve. It is hard for me. So that's all I can
Yeah.
do is just say
Yeah.
everything that at our show is going to be,
Yeah.
of for the greater good. But literally what you do and what you teach and what you personify is what Jesus taught, long and short. And that's, because people wonder about religion, about how does this tie in with spirituality or new age or, thinking that if it's that much different than what they were taught in church, is it okay for them? Is it, and that's everything that you're talking about is literally what Jesus talked
Well,
about in his lessons.
let me also say, so Jesus is a real, true ascended master. So
Hmm.
what does that mean? As an ascended master, that means he has been able to transform the death experience. Okay, that's not necessarily a definition of an ascended master, but he has meaning that he was able to physically die
Hmm.
and keep his full consciousness as
Hmm.
a living being,
Hmm.
right? More than once.
Hmm.
Once we know he resurrected, meaning he literally was retained his full and complete consciousness
Hmm.
and re-embodied, and then chose even after he left the body to completely stay 100% conscious of himself as a master, a
Hmm.
true master, stay alive as the master he still is, and help those who would want to walk a similar path.
Hmm.
Now, to me, Jesus is one of my teachers, primary teachers.
Hmm.
I'm from the lineage of, we call it Sananda and the host. That's the lineage that all the great masters went through. Saint
Hmm.
Germain, yeah, all of Buddha, Krishna. They all went through that lineage. I
Hmm.
mean, all of the great masters, and we could go on and on about who all of them are. Mary Magdalene went through, she wasn't a whore or a prostitute.
Uh-huh.
She was a
Yeah.
master.
Yes.
They were partners, the divine
Hmm.
feminine, divine masculine working together to awaken. They seeded the earth to awaken humanity.
Hmm.
So, you know, I'm just
That's
saying
what you're doing.
there
That's what
that
you are doing. You are here
yeah,
to
I'm doing
awaken
my best
humanity.
to fulfill that role too in my way. And that's part
Hmm.
of what I teach is embodiment. How do we embody the divine, the Christ consciousness,
Yes.
the Christed one? We are all God's embodies here, but we
Hmm.
have to awaken that within ourselves, and we have to again transmute that
Hmm.
which is not identifying in that way, that which is fear-based.
The last time that we talked, did we talk about the Holy Spirit?
I don't remember.
I had this
Maybe.
really cool, like download, for lack of a better term. And it was so random. I was at a show in Washington, D.C., and I had my assistant, my admin, we're sharing the room. And when I woke up, I said the strangest thing happened. I just literally had an explanation of what the Holy Spirit was.
Oh, that's
And
fascinating.
because it's always something I've wondered, even when I was really going to church and stuff, it says in the Bible that, and we've got 5 minutes, so I'm to try to make this quick, that the resurrected Jesus was in the room and they were all praying, and then the Holy Spirit descended upon them and the room grew quiet. And I wanted to know what that was. Then later, and then I did tell her what the information that I got, but that after that weekend, we were at a dinner with a couple who were vendors at the show, and I was telling them about the experience, and they said, I know this is crazy, but the other night Jeff had the same dream
Hmm.
or the same, download or whatever. So for whatever reason, that information has been given to us. But what happened was him being in his resurrected state and being there, it was one of the highest levels of divine embodiment that we felt, or that divine energy in on the planet in a very long time, that was there in that room, and that was the first time they got to experience it. So
Hmm.
that's what you're teaching people to be able to do for themselves every day. And
Yeah.
then again, collectively, when we're together, synergistically, we're just so much bigger as a whole too.
Hmm.
So that's just how we are lifting the planet up. That's
Hmm.
the physics, the science of it,
Yes.
is
I
is
love that
bring.
you had that download about the Holy Spirit. That's
Yeah,
like so awesome.
yeah,
You really, Mary Ellen, you must have asked that question in an open-ended way
yeah, yeah.
in your
But
own
years
consciousness.
ago, that's why it was so strange that it happened then. But if I wasn't sharing the room with her, I'm not sure I'd have even remembered, because when you have a dream, sometimes you forget. But I
Hmm.
was able to tell her right away, and then it stuck, and that was this. So maybe that was why I had it when I did. But
Hmm. Very
um,
cool.
yeah,
But
but
that's the kind of thing that happens. This is one of the last things we can say just about coming to Spirit Fest and being in person is like, it's what you've been saying and I've been saying is you come into resonance. It's the biggest thing because most people, they're out in the world, living in the 3D physical world, operating around the vast majority of humans who are just operating in that form of density. And then you come to Spirit Fest and you get to be around, this kind of pure frequency. And so you come into resonance with it. It elevates you,
yeah.
expands you. And then you have these kinds of epiphanies and
Hmm.
transformations. And then you
Hmm.
go out in the world and you are of service. You are actually more elevated. You are inspiring to others. Other people
Yes.
ask you, like, what did you take? And
Hmm. Hmm.
it is the way it ripples out. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
these kinds of spaces and places like Spirit Fest is just such a great place to come into resonance. And then, especially if you are a person who's looking for teaching or a healer, or you want to, I work with great healers. I help other healers. I help other teachers. I work
Hmm.
with other people who want to make massive impact in the world so they can up level
Hmm.
and be part of the solution. So then you find people who gravitate
Right.
towards and who you work with.
Right. We're just about out of time, unfortunately. So until the next time, I always look forward to our conversations. But so for all of you who are listening, you can learn more about Lori at lorispagna.com. Spagna is Spagna. All kinds of information and resources on there too. You can find out more about her. But do come see us in Punta Gorda the weekend of July 11th and 12th. And her workshops are extremely affordable. Only 80 tickets available each day, but there's a lot of other things going on too. And Spirit Fest is also about fun. It isn't just about enlightenment.
I want to do the crystal bowls.
Yes,
Those
yes.
are going to be awesome. I love
We've
that.
got fairy. I don't think we'll have fairy hair, but we have henna. We have reflexology. The foot guy is amazing.
Oh,
And
yes.
then the people that the sound tables and the tuning forks, they're really popular too. And then we've just got all kinds of great readers and healers, and then just some really cool merchandise and clothing and all kinds of stuff. So it's just fun. It's just a really fun
Lots
day.
of fun.
There's also tons of speakers. We have a full list of speakers that rotate every hour too. So enough of that. So spiritfestusa.com, look for the tab on Punta Gorda. And I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. But thank you for spending this evening with us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We're going to have an awesome time. I'll see you
Yes,
guys at
yeah.
Spirit Fest.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for spending this time with me here on the Sanctuary Network. Tune in every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Transformation Network as we gather to share stories, wisdom, and practices that remind us of something essential. Sanctuary isn't just a place you go. It's a space you create in your heart, your home, and your daily life. I hope today's conversation sparks something in you, a sense of belonging, a new idea, or simply a reminder that you are not alone on this journey. If this touched you, please share it with someone who could use a little light. Together, we can grow this circle of sanctuary and inspire a ripple of healing around the world. And don't forget, the journey continues at spiritfestusa.com, thesanctuarynetwork.com, and naturalwellnessexpo.com. And of course, every week right here on Transformation Network. Until next time, may you be well, may you be inspired, and may you live fully in sanctuary.